I was detained and tortured for selling Biafran newspaper. Delta vendor cries out. Mr. Patrick Onwahnoha tells a story after spending 13 days in police detention before being granted bail by a court. Mr. Patrick Onwahnoha, a newspaper vendor in Asaba, Delta State, who spent 13 days in police detention and was recently granted bail by a court, has told his story. He narrates his ordeal to Matthew Oche. According to him, this is what happened. What is your name? My name is Patrick Onwahnoha. What is your occupation? I am a newspaper vendor. You were arrested recently by the police. Can you recall how it happened? Okay. I was not arrested by the police at first. It was the officers from the Department of State Services that arrested me. What happened that day, May 14th, was a terrible experience in my life. I was doing my usual newspaper business as a vendor along the street of Asaba when I saw where people gathered in the Arcade Event Center. I entered there to sell newspapers. Then I saw some of my DSS friends at an event there. I greeted them as usual because anywhere there is a function in Asaba and its environs, especially government functions, I use the opportunity to sell my newspapers. So most of the security personnel know me very well. One of the DSS officers told me to give him a copy of the newspaper as a seller gift. In the process, I gave him the newspaper. He saw a copy of Biafran paper and demanded it. He said he preferred to read the Biafran paper, so I gave it to him. One of them whispered to him and he started making a call. After the call, he said their oga or boss wanted to see me. They ordered me to enter their vehicle and I did without arguing with them because my conscience was clean. What happened next? Before I knew what was happening, they covered my face in the vehicle. When we got to the office, they uncovered my face and I asked them what my offense was. They said I was an IPOP member and that I was sent to monitor what was going on. I told them I was just a newspaper vendor hustling to make ends meet and not an IPOP member. I told them I didn't know any member of the group, that I only read them in the pages of newspapers. They removed the handcuff on me and asked me to write a statement, and I told them that I didn't know how to write, but I could read. They wrote the statement and said I should sign, which I did. What happened after signing the statement? I was thinking the DSS officers would take me back to the place they brought me, so I would continue selling my papers, but they took me to the police headquarters and handed me over to the anti-kidnapping unit. On Friday morning, the police brought me out of the cell and the investigating police officer, one Sonny, told me to write a statement and I still told him that I cannot write but I can read. So IPO wrote the statement and asked me to sign. I told him that I will read what he wrote first before I sign, but he said I could not read it and forced me to sign. After signing, I begged him to allow me to call my wife to know where I was. That was when I informed my wife that I was at the police headquarters. A few days later, they brought me out, used a big rope to tie my hands and hit me with a button even when they knew I was sick. They said my mother and members bombed police station and killed policemen, but I told them I was not a member of IPOP, that I was just an ordinary newspaper vendor. So they asked for the chairman of the Newspaper Vendor Association and the person who allocated newspapers for sale, and I gave them the names. The police said I was the one printing the Biafran paper, and I told them I wouldn't have been poor if I was the one printing the paper. Linking me with the IPOB was very wrong. Even the police said, though I was a well-known vendor in Asaba, they would still punish me and kill me. After beating me, one of the officers begged them to untie me, but they refused, saying I was as good as a dead man. They carried me back to the cell with my hand tied to my back. I stayed there until Monday evening, and I couldn't bear it again. As I was almost dying, I started shouting in the cell up to a point where I found it difficult to breathe. That was when the IPO told my cellmate to untie me. How did you regain freedom? It was on May 20th that one officer who visited the cell brought me out and asked me why I was there. I explained to him, but the time he saw my hands after they untied me, he shouted. He called on a doctor at Federal Medical Center to come and treat me. Then on Tuesday, 25th May, I was taken to the court. When we got to the court, immediately the judge saw my hands and asked me what happened. I also explained to him, and the judge granted me bail immediately to go for treatment and come back to court on June 8th. It was a bad experience. Our police are very useless people. They are connivers. They are connivers. They are blasphemers. Our police are blackmailers, deceivers. They are professional federal tools, and that is why I don't pity them when things are happening to them. I don't pity them. I don't. Even when people are crying for them, I don't. I celebrate their defeat. I celebrate their downfall. I celebrate their death, because they have caused too much harm than good on people. People have suffered so much in the hand of the police just because of the police. See what this man has gone through. Despite the fact that they know him, see what he has gone through. Look at, what are you going to say about these evil policemen? Are you going to commend them? Are you? No, you won't. You won't, definitely. Because this is evil. Despite the fact that they claim that they know him to be a known newspaper seller, they still claim that he is a spy. What the police will eat is what they are going about to look for, up and down. And that very thing that they will eat is what is putting them into trouble, and that will keep putting them into trouble. They'll keep putting them into trouble. Can please someone tell me, what has this innocent newspaper vendor man done now to deserve this wicked act coming from the Nigerian police? See how they deceived him, pushed him to the cell, and make him suffer in penury. Let me not exhaust the whole section. Let me allow you to come in. Let me hear you and know what you have to say about this. If you're new, click on the subscription buttons as well as the bell buttons to get updated each time we upload any new videos. Thank you.